So I have a piece of Arsh 100% cotton cold pressed paper taped down to a piece of cardboard. This is like a 4 by 6 inch size. I use Scotch Magic tape. I think it works fine. You just pull the tape away this way and it won't rip the paper. Don't pull it towards the paper, pull it away from the paper. And this is kind of like an intuitive painting, really kind of quick. I'm going to use a bunch of different brushes, and you can use whatever you have, right? I'm going to grab my Princeton 16 Aqua Elite. Going to loosen up some yellow. This is cadmium yellow light. This is cadmium red light. And I've got some pyrrole Rubin. Because we're working with fall here. Clean up my brush. And then I'll mix up some greens. This is cadmium red light again. Could use peacock blue to make like a nice bright chartreuse green. And we can add blue, a Prussian blue and burnt umber to make a deeper green right in here. So we have these ready to go. You always want to have this stuff ready to go. Clean up my brush. Now, for this little design, I'm going to get a little more yellow paint here. Thicker, loose. We're just going to, like I said, haphazardly paint on the piece of paper. I'm going to grab a different brush. I'm going to grab a 12. This is 12. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a 10 inch, 10 round Aqua Elite Series Princeton. So basically, I'm going to take my water and I'm just going to kind of wiggle some loose water here. And I'm just kind of like going like this. It kind of looks like in the shape of maybe, see the shine? You can see it right there? Of a loose flower. And you can grab some yellow. We'll just kind of like wiggle it this way into the water that we saw. A little bit thicker paint. It won't move as much. Just like that. Grab some of the cadmium red light. We can kind of tap that in. Now it's wet on wet. That was wet on dry, right? It's not really moving, right? It has to be looser. So you get this really loose water. And then you can kind of move it around. Or you use your brush to manipulate it. You just kind of move it around that way. Either or, right? One of the two. If it's really loose and wet, and play with it like that. Now because we're working with fall colors, go back in here. I don't want to get that green in there. Oh no. I even have a brilliant orange. I'm going to take the same brush. Now this is wet on dry again. And I'm just kind of taking my brush lightly, gently, wiggling back and forth. See? So that's wet on dry. Really kind of simple. Clean up my brush. Grab some yellow paint, more yellow. Kind of tap that in there. Now we're going to start to play with maybe a little bit of red. This Pyrrole Rubin. And cadmium. I'm going to put that in the center. Now we can even add some browns. This is burnt umber. Let's play with a little brown. So I'm tapping like the center area and then towards the center there. And if it's not going anywhere, you can kind of manipulate it by moving it. This one's going a little bit more. Like that. I might tap in a little bit of red too in there with the brown. Doesn't seem to want to go anywhere, right? So we could take the tip of our brush with some paint and kind of drag some of it through the petals that we had made here before. A little dragging. Same thing with this. Drag that petal. Brush through the petal. Show them who's boss. Kind of cool. Now we'll start to play with a little bit of greens. This guy got a little too dark over here. That got missed in my little, this light green. Take your brush, kind of jerky pen, moving the brush like this. Move out for some stems. So just kind of wiggling like this. Jiggy jaggedy wiggle out like that. Just kind of just using your arms, just like moving it like that. Remember that deep green? Kind of play with that too. Jiggity jaggedy. You could add a petal, excuse me, not a petal, a leaf, and loosen it. Kind of just push down, go like that. Push down, pull it like that. Look at that. Already so quick. And I have Paynes gray over here. A little black goes a long way. I don't really use Paynes gray that much, but every now and then you can have fun with it. Just tap it in the center there. It's pretty loose. I'm adding a little thicker paint now. See what happens when it touches the sides. Center, leave a little hole. just the size. Look at that. Look how quick that was. Have a little more fun. You can scrape some of these. I'm just got a tool. This is a palette knife, and you can just kind of scrape the paint, and you get all these great lines. Pull, drag that black out. Same thing here. Scrape and drag. And some of this is already dried, so you get some great veins. Look at that. Look how cool that is. That took like 2 seconds. And maybe on the top, maybe you can add a little blue color. I don't want to mix into my yellow. So cobalt is a great color. This is down here. But I have ultramarine blue up top. There's also cerulean blue and my cobalt. Gonna grab some more. It's a great color for fall. Especially doing skies, by the way. So now look how bright that is. Now, you can kind of put it in the top here and then loosely wiggle it down into the flower. You don't want to get into the yellow because it's going to turn it to green. So I cleaned off my big old brush, kind of dragging some clear water down near it, but not on it, because we don't want it to get into the yellow, right? And the water is going to only go where the water is. So if you didn't get that yellow section wet, it won't go there. You see how what I'm talking about here? And then I'll go in here a little bit. Being very careful not to hit the yellow. Look how cool that is. Or you could have left it without putting in the blue. It's up to you. Super fun playing with. This is how you use it without, putting in masking fluid. Get that bright blue in there. You'd have to paint everything first and then go work around it. Here, it's not going to be a problem hitting into the green because, green and blue, they're fine. It's the yellow. And the orange would be fine too. Again, it's always the yellow. Get a little bit darker up here. I have a really cool card. So you can turn a little bit green in there. Like I said, you can kind of go down here and just go right over some of those greens. You really get an even brighter blue down here. Look how cool that is. Very simple. Took like 5 minutes. Go back with some yellow over some of these greens to get some bright vibrancy. That's what's great about watercolor. So you can just take the one color, the yellow, and you change it by adding the yellow color over this. It's called glazing. And the color is just totally different. Isn't that cool? And that took what? All of 2 minutes. I have a great card. See, I'm removing the tape, peeling it away from the paper. How long did that take you? 2 seconds. And look how cool it is. If you want to zhuzh it up a little bit more, you can take a little brush. This is a smaller brush, like an 8 long round. I'm just going to go back in here and make this orange a little bit more vibrant by adding some color. You can do this when it's dried, even when it's a little bit wet. It's more vibrant that way. But I love it. And when it's dry, you can even add some, like I said, go back and add that deep green. Kind of play around, even if it's a little bit wet. Thicker paint, that Prussian and that burnt umber. And adding some green leaves. So if it's a little bit wet, it's kind of cool, kind of like do some fun blending. Look at that. Super fun. Same thing with the yellow part too. Up here you can go ahead and maybe grab some orange or something and kind of outline it. Or even the red. Or even burnt sienna. Have fun with this. Really, really fun. Well, I hope that was fun. I know I had a great time. If you're a Patreon member, you get the additional tutorial, which is this lovely card, and I go over this step by step. Super fun, fast also. Really cool, kind of making these colors and playing around with how I kind of throw this around. So if you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below. Become a Patreon member where you get first dibs on watercolor workshops and retreat. I just had a workshop put out there and it sold out in 4 hours, so it pays to be a patron. And, you know, be supporting my channel here where you get free content. So I really appreciate it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.